Hello. Okie dokie. I believe that we are now streaming. Are we live? Are we live, Self-Care Sunday? I believe we are live. I've never done this way. Normally, oh wow, that's exciting. Normally I set up this whole thing, it takes forever. And I didn't have time to do that because my encoder software decided to change its business model and shake more shekels out of me. Well, I am not going to say more about my gripes about Wirecast. I'm using Open Broadcaster, whatever, the OBS open source software. Whoa, too focused. I basically, didn't want to waste any more time not being live. Oh man, so many friendly faces. I see Dimitri Silver, Victoria Frey, so many people. Kick down the ISO, it's too bright. Can you hear me? Can you see everything? Is this all good? So good to see you guys. I think all you people who are watching not live are going to be able to pull up the live chat these days because YouTube has changed this platform a fair amount since we started this show. For everybody watching right now, live, and for everybody watching later, welcome to Self-Care Sunday. Take a seat, sit back, relax, get comfy. It is time to not break all my things. So I'm going to pop open the app for a sec just to make sure that I can keep track of the conversation. And we have a packed stream for today. We're going to take it at a Self-Care Sunday pace. First, I just want to clean up my integrity because I promised in December, the last time I streamed, a weekly stream in January. And in 4 weeks of January, I streamed exactly 0 times. And I'm not proud of that. And I really, don't want to make it like the pattern that I have is like setting ambitious deadlines and then getting caught up in other work and having to like scale back the personal project stuff. And I think I dealt with that last year with Frame Shift and producing the audio drama contest from Rice Ember, which I'm so excited to share more about that. But we'll get to updates in a little bit. I think later today we'll talk a little bit more about integrity and how integrity is a part of my self-care. But basically, I just wanted to clean up that I had sort of promised to go live for the entire month of January and didn't like give an update. I just, sort of was heads down, focused on client work. And I don't ever want to repeat this of promising this community something and not delivering and not communicating about it. And I think just in general, like between this channel, between Focused AF, and my other sort of independent endeavors where I don't have another creative partner or set of partners like I do on the stuff I'm doing with the Fear of Public Shame crew for the No Bad Ideas show and the Internet 3.0 that I'm working on with Blockstack and my various other collaborations, some of which are like in that weird space of development that, things kind of can't be talked about or they're just not cooked yet. They're not worth sharing yet. And so, I think my theme for this year is better problems. And I'm thrilled to be at work on that and seeing that show up in my life already. And I also just want to be responsible for honoring my word with all of you, because it's important to me that, you know, yeah, just that we have this space be clean. And I find that integrity is one of those things that just brings all sorts of beauty and power to relationship. Lord knows, I've learned a lot about integrity working with Gabrielle and Sarah, and everything we've been doing over at the Fear of Public Shame sort of corner of the internet with our new podcast, No Bad Ideas, has just been a real delight. And we're working on an online course, which, if you haven't seen, those are my latest uploads to YouTube. There's some previews there. And yeah, I guess the first thing that I wanted to do was see if any of you have any questions for me and what's going on here. I think this conversation about restoring integrity continues into my my Patreon community. Oh man, this is so great. I see people asking questions already. We can absolutely talk about that Bright Sessions episode. And I'm so glad you liked it. It's just such a joy. I see Eve Sarkadi asking, how are you? And I feel like I need to answer that question upside down. So why don't we make our way upside down? I was hoping to start the stream this way, the way that I did last time, but then I ran into setup-related issues. So, welcome to my bathroom, where I hang upside down. Oh man, the lighting in here is just terrible, but what are you gonna do? Oh wow, so many beautiful, familiar faces here. Oh, that's funny. Kiki Dolly, it's okay, I never heard the promise, so we'll pretend it never happened. See, I like acknowledging that I gave a word and didn't fulfill on it. Because I just think it's easy to cut corners, blame outside factors. Like, I just find there's power in taking responsibility. And I think one of the things that I've been less responsible for than is appropriate, and I think this is maybe subconsciously why I've wanted to take a minute at the beginning of this year to check myself before I wreck myself, as they say. I'm just putting on these boots so that I can hang upside down on this here upside down bar. I don't know exactly what you call it, teeter hang-ups. Woo! Oh, shice. I'm like, don't fall over and break, camera. So, first you just gotta make sure to empty your pockets so nothing falls on your face. I'm gonna tuck in my shirt, because it's not that kind of show. Not there's anything wrong with those kinds of shows. It's just different. Ugh. Oh, man. God, this feels good. Oh no, I gotta come down. Oh, fuck, it feels good. I gotta get the phone though. Oh wow, Alex the Great, welcome for your first Self-Care Sunday ever. It's so great to have you guys here. Raging Artist, this is actually an amazing topic because I'm working on a commission that I promised was going to be done a couple of weeks ago. hate not following through, but it happens sometimes. And I think that the thing that I've learned and the thing that I try to practice in my integrity practice is bringing communication in, where if you know that you're gonna not make a deadline, that, oh no, that you communicate with stakeholders that are involved. Just let people know what's up. And, you know, if you're working with professionals and especially, you know, people you share, yeah, I don't know, it's tricky because not everybody's in a situation where they're working with, you know, at a certain point, I just find that I am more effective when I take responsibility for all of it, what's working and what's not working. And I struggle with taking responsibility for what's working, in that, you know, I feel like I was one of the, like, working on a project like Wolf was a magic experience because everybody was so professional and just like, you know, and whenever stuff comes up, I guess I don't really have as developed a thing to say. I was hoping that I would have like a great, like, positive stream of consciousness that would have like a framework and a 4-step solution. Ugh. But I guess that kind of just sounds like bullshit when I think about it. And that, you know, it makes a big difference to work with people that you want to deliver for when you're working on stuff. And then it works to communicate, no matter who you're working with, when you think something's going to be late, so that, you know, expectations don't get broken, and if it's not going to get missed. You know, I think that that's the thing that I think most about when I think about integrity is, at first, what is integrity not? And integrity and morality, I think, are separate things. And there's a academic paper, which I know sounds super sexy, but there's a PDF I'll put in the show notes that my dad put me on 2 years ago that I've been learning more from as the years go on, and I develop as you know, a person that does business and a person that wants to create art stuff, and you know, sort of, I feel like I'm one of several people that I know that are setting out on career paths that don't have clear sort of navigational instructions for moving forward, or yeah, there's not really a set path. But yeah, I get a lot of value out of just slowing down and separating integrity from morality, where integrity is like, I said I would deliver X by Y. Morality is, I'm a terrible person and I'm the worst and I need to, you know, sort of beat myself up and somehow pay back a debt of failure. And I just, you know, there's a whole world of shame and guilt that comes with that world of morality, that I know integrity is one of those words that gets used a lot by a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. And I found a lot of value in, like, thinking of integrity in this new way of it's separate from morality. And, you know, there is such a thing as a failure to perform on something. Like I said, I would do X by Y, and it's actually going to take me Y plus, you know, 5. Maybe I need another week or whatever. You know, you learn stuff as you get into these new challenges and set yourself up with a combination of promises and plans and partners to risk failing. Yeah, I don't know if this all sounds muddled. Blame Seth Godin for encouraging me to publish rougher drafts. And, you know, I'm going to sort of look into the chat and see, like, what am I talking about that actually speaks to, you know, what you guys are dealing with, because I think some of you deal with similar problems. Wow, these chats are super, super kind and funny. Just gonna sit here a while and listen while I draw. I love that. You know, it feels like, you know, baby Bob Ross channel. Oh man, it was so amazing working with Julia Morizawa on that episode. I had the great privilege of getting to work with Julia briefly before, but this was like the first time that we'd been face to face as performers, and yeah, it's just awesome to get to play with her. And I think, you know, the combination of like her presence as a performer and just the work that she's done with Dr. Bright, plus like Lauren was there directing, and you know, Evan Cunningham's recording, which is like awesome. Like, he does such great music, and Gabrielle is also on the line. Like, I just felt incredibly set up to succeed, and it was just a beautiful experience. And being a fan of the Bright Sessions, it was just something special to get to be a part of the actual show. And Misha just took that script and ran with it in such a way. I mean, the sound design requirements of bringing some of those elements to life. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, so or listened to it that wants to. But basically, I play one of the patients on a bonus episode of the Bright Sessions, which, if you haven't heard of it, is an audio drama podcast, which is about basically therapy sessions with X-Men. It's like superheroes in therapy. It's super, super cool. It's one of my favorite shows, and it was a dream come true to get to be a part of the show. I don't know if you guys have other questions. How do I not get dizzy hanging upside down like that? One, you should try it. Dizzy is not the feeling it comes with. It's a bit of a head rush. Two, I do get a little dizzy sometimes when I stay too long, but practice, you know, sort of overcomes all of that. But yeah, that is, and it's just like, it's a real relief to just let go of the tension in my back in that way. And I carry around a lot of tension because I think, you know, it's funny. People asked us to talk more about burnout on No Bad Ideas, the podcast I'm doing with Gabrielle and Sarah these days, the storytelling game show where we turn terrible ideas from the internet into ideas that are actually good, or stories that are actually good. We try to pitch each other movies off of like terrible internet clips, and then we take the back half and just talk about life and stuff, and it's much more like a free-form conversation. Yeah, the recommendation is like every week we get like a bunch of great ideas, and then we always get burnout also. So it's like one of those things we don't want to ever end up talking too much about, but it seems like we probably can't based on how many people are experiencing this phenomenon. There's an interesting article that I saw about millennials and burnout. If I can find the link, I'll throw that into the description as well. Yeah, it was a banner year for me last year, and also like I just like until last summer, or like really into the fall, like I hadn't taken a vacation in like years. So I think that I've been confronting the realities that I am ambitious, and I do genuinely love working, And I think that I've learned that there's like something to this whole work-life balance thing, and the purpose of it isn't to find a better balance to fit in more work, which is, I think, what I got wrong previously. Or not wrong, but I've learned maybe isn't for me. Or at the very least, I need to get more interested in what the non-work life is when I create time for it, so I'm not left sort of like anxious and looking for something to do when I like schedule free time, which I'm not embarrassed, but not necessarily proud to say is like, you know, a non-zero amount of my vacation time. And like, super kudos to Kathleen, who is unfortunately sick on the Upper West Side, for being a strong advocate in the live your life school of thought, and my dad also for really prioritizing and demonstrating in the way he's living his life that it's important to make time for vacation and for, you know, family and other things than work is exciting, as you know, getting to do stuff that's exciting and stuff that matters, that people care about ideally, and then also stuff that, like, you know, makes the other stuff work. I'm lucky to get to, ooh, laundry's done. Welcome to Self-Care Sunday, everybody. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Niam. Poor Kathleen. Yeah, she'll feel better soon. She's already feeling better. If you're watching, hon, feel better. While we're doing shout-outs also, I just want to shout out Charlotte for helping me outline this episode, and Amal for a lovely coffee date / graveyard date before this. That was really nice. Yeah, I have a, I'm like, what am I talking about? What are we talking about next? First of all, I have like this list of things that I want to talk about, and some of them we already have, but others of them are this one. Tiffany! Ah! Oh, hey, kitty. Little kitty. This is my cat, everybody. And we think Tiffy may be maybe 17 years old. I thought she was 12 or 13 for the longest time, and then 13 or 14, and then suddenly I'm told she might actually be like 17 or 18. But I adopted her from my friend Julia Sheldon, who was an artist on the Upper West Side, among other things. We really got to connect, and we were mean and funny and just had a fun friendship. And she threatened to haunt me when I asked her what would happen with her cats when she passed, and she threatened to haunt me if I wouldn't take care of them. So yeah, this is Tiffany. She has a sinus condition, so she sneezes a lot and has some trouble breathing. Julia had some unsafe for cats chemicals around her house that was challenging to work with as she got, as her vision degraded through macular degeneration. So it was hard to, yeah, hard to take care of this one for her, but, you know, she's super sweet. I pick her nose too much, but she has to be able to smell her food to eat it. So I'm just like a helicopter cat dad. And that's her robot feeder. Okay, so we got to do that. Maybe we'll do some more of that. I feel like we started talking about that. Maybe we could do more of that. I don't know about that one for this week, but yeah. Let's see. So we got no bad ideas. check it out. It's nobadideaspodcast.com. I'm super excited about this. We just relaunched, so get this. So for No Bad Ideas, we've been coming up with all these stories, right? And some of them have been insane, some of them have been dumb, most of them have been really fun. And the idea is that we're actually going to write out full feature-length versions of these scripts over the course of this year as Patreon rewards for the No Bad Ideas Patreon. So that's just like one of those things. It's like, this is like the kind of possibility that the internet creates that didn't exist before now. That I'm just like, I have to pinch myself sometimes that this is real, that we can like invite people to make this happen. And so yeah, so we'll see. In the meantime, the podcast itself is fun, and it's just beautiful to like get dedicated time with Gabrielle and Sarah in like a way that's like just, I feel like I get to share my favorite part of our relationship. That's just like the life talk stuff at the end of the show. And then we've like created this incredible exercise at the beginning of the show that just like has helped me learn more about storytelling in general and like how they think about storytelling and like what I think is important and how they are way smarter than me, but also like how just like when you're trying to solve problems in a medium, like say you want to make an audio drama or a film or a novel or whatever, and it's like, where do you start with the characters, with the setting? And the answer is, it depends. And it's like fun to like play that out every week and have a timer ticking that is really anxiety inducing. And at like the high end of our Patreon dreams, we might end up doing live shows, which would be incredibly fun to get to like tour around. Maybe even the world. So yeah, so I'm just excited to get to play around with those guys on crazy shit. Oh, and while I know one of the next cards that's coming up is this online course that we're doing, which while we're looking at this whiteboard, this is all the lessons that we're putting into this crazy animal, which is like so many lessons. We're making a whole course on how to write audio dramas, and for me, it's been incredibly instructive to get to do that while also doing No Bad Ideas. And I feel like I'm getting better on the No Bad Ideas game show as we make this course, because I'm learning how to think about storytelling in like a very Gabrielle and Sarah way. So it's been fun. This thing is Cold Email is the other online course that I'm teaching with a friend that I met at a previous company. Cold Email is like a way to create business where you just message a lot of people that you think would be interested in services. So if you're a freelancer or whatever, this is like one of the things that I have learned to do over the years that's made my life possible. And yeah, we're doing that thing. If you hit me up on Twitter, I can go on for a while about it. And this is the Shenanigans the Wolf. And their customer service being anti-supportive. Oh, this is Patreon. Yeah, Patreon has stopped being awful. Yeah, Rena, I fully support your opting out of that. And we're going to create other ways of supporting us that aren't Patreon, because I know that you're not the only person to have problems with Patreon. And I think everybody should have a choice. Yeah, I believe that freedom is important. And yeah, and you should be free to not do that. Yeah, oh, it's so great to see people connecting here and making friends. So yeah, those were a couple of those things. Let's see. Frame shift, the Internet 3.0, cold email, audio drama course, Avoda. Yeah. So the other thing that I've been working on that's worth mentioning, and if this is not for you, I completely understand. If you hate this, please let me know in the comments and be as specific as possible. If you love this, please let me know in the comments and let me know as specifically as possible. I'm focused outside of this show on what the sort of balance between what people like would find entertaining that I can make happen on a consistent basis, that would provide value for everybody involved, myself creatively, yourselves in an educational or entertainment direction. Yeah, I love the experimentation of this medium, there's a lot that I think I can do on this platform, and getting to be a resource in y'all's lives, for whatever it is, whether it's meditation, whether it's good laughs. It's just a joy to get to connect. If you haven't heard this podcast, we just got a new episode live that I'm super stoked about. The Internet 3.0 is a podcast that I'm making about technology with one of my favorite technology companies, Blockstack, that was super fun to put together, and we're still working on it. But this particular episode that just came out, it's been a while since episodes came out, but we saved it for something that mattered, and we got an interview with Bram Cohen, who created BitTorrent. If you ever used that downloading protocol, and I think it's an interesting conversation. He talks pretty plainly about what he sees as, not working, about cryptocurrencies and the internet in general, and it's a nerdy conversation. It's definitely not for everybody, but if you find history interesting, if you find technology interesting, you might get a kick out of the Internet 3.0 podcast. Internet3podcast.com is the website there, and the Bram Cohen episode is the new thing. Somebody just mentioned the DSS PPM, at which, if you don't listen to Wolf, you don't know what it is. The DSS PPM is the Deep Space Survival Procedure and Protocol Manual from the world of Wolf 359. We took more hours than you need to know to write this crazy, crazy book, which has 1,001 deep space survival procedure and protocol tips. They're all terrible and great, and I'm proud of this little book that we made, and you can get a digital copy at dssppm.com. We're considering bringing it into print, but right now there's only a digital copy available. It's been bananas to see people's response, and it's just a joy to put out something that people seem to love so much. Yeah, so you can check that out at DSSPPM, and it should be going out for free for, who did it go out for free for? All the patrons, all the people that supported us, and yeah, that should have happened, and I think there were some issues. Haha. So please, if you are entitled to it and you haven't received it, don't stew on it, just reach out and we'll do our best to get back to you in a timely manner. Thank you for your persistence, everybody who's been following up with us to make that access happen. Raging Artist, off topic, but my chicken, Edgar Allan Poe. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, the polar vortex is over. Hooray. That also reminds me of Tiffy's old brother, Edgar Allan Pause. I don't know why we're not sitting closer to Tiffy. We used to have a camera dedicated on Tiffy all the time. And I think if Self-Care Sunday is going to continue, maybe it should do that more. Whoop-ah. All right, let's see. So I guess the last two updates that I have here are Frameshift, which, if you haven't heard, is sort of a story, but it is definitely an audio drama you should check out. so Rye is a writing month that happens every November, where basically if you want to write a screenplay, you commit to writing a complete draft in the month of November. And if it's an audio drama and it fits certain criteria, then it's eligible for this thing that we did called the audio drama contest, the Rye audio drama contest, which we did last November again, and we have a new winner. But the previous year, in 2017, was Shannon Smith's Frame Shift. And it's done, and it's live, and the talent on it is amazing, and people have been buying it, and every dollar supports United for Puerto Rico. And it's just been a joy to see people listening to this thing and enjoying it, and to be raising money for such an awesome cause. This is to support just some of the devastation of hurricanes Irma and the hurricanes that hit Puerto Rico several years ago now at this point, and we're still in need of raising funds to support the effort, because it's just Irma and Maria, if you don't know, like, Lin-Manuel Miranda's involved in Hamilton, with bringing Hamilton to the island to raise money, which I'm incredibly glad that is happening. And just like, I don't know, I think it felt great to get to collaborate with like Kristen DiMercurio and Briggan Snow, Zach Libresco. It really is like the Trevor Wallace, the co-director and co-producer, called it the Avengers of audio drama. Beth Eyre is involved from Wooden Overcoats. It's just a real pleasure. Eli Barraza. The talent is overwhelming. I always worry that I'm missing people. It's like the worst memory sometimes. But I need to write things down or see them written down. So I'm sorry if I forgot anybody's names. Frame Shift, No Bad Ideas. Oh, and the last thing was Avoda, which was a live stream that I'm doing on Facebook for a nonprofit that's really cool. It's a Jewish youth group in New York City, and they're doing this stream series called Speak Torah to Power. And it's just a delight to get to provide live streaming services for such a cool business. And I'll put a link to the streams in the link here. I gotta remember all those links. I'll watch this back. Give myself some notes on how boring I think this probably is, or I worry. I think that that's something that like I need to manage better this year, is that I have a habit of trying to do things 110%, but then I have that's a good instinct, I think, but then I have a habit of trying to start 110 things at the same time, and it doesn't work. So that's something that I'm learning and growing and improving around. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like thinking maybe we'll wind this down soon. Hello, Mitzrayim. Welcome. Aw, I see people sending in loving Frame Shift. Oh, EWB is doing a 30-day social media phone detox starting tomorrow. Congratulations. I'm so glad to be a part of your sort of, like doing fewer, that's like, it's awesome to be at the beginning end of that and be sort of your last hurrah on the internet until you come back. I'd love to read your notes if you take a journal while you're gone and get the data from your experiment. Amir likes the chill streams. Great. That feels good. And also, like, I might also plan more crazy streams, but I think the chill streams are more manageable. And I just like the freedom of being able to carry the camera around the room and just, like, riff. I think maybe we'll wind down and do some meditation. What do you say? I am thinking about potentially starting like a movement class. I don't want to call it exercise because I think that I think exercise videos can be participatory in a like a sort of body shaming culture. And I think that I am deeply conditioned by our body shaming culture, and I'm interested in producing something of value that has any values. And so I was thinking about doing like basic stretching and movement stuff. I'm not like certified in anything, so I feel like a little bit underprepared, or maybe like I don't know. Like I guess I have imposter syndrome that I could teach something like that. But my mom's a muscular therapist and has taught me a lot over the years, and she's given me a bunch of great DVDs that I've done. And I'm like, I feel like I could probably do that, and I think maybe the people who like these streams would like some of that, some movement. It would probably make me do it more. It'd be like a cheap gym subscription for me to just get up and move. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm going to peer at the phone. Tiffany's looking at me like, what do you want, Valenti? I see, speaking of the Internet 3.0, any thoughts of nonfiction storytelling as opposed to fiction storytelling through the medium of podcasts in particular? There are so many differences in my experience of that. Oh, man. Wow. I think that the biggest similarity is, what are you trying to put in your listener's head, and what questions do you think they have based on that? And it's a matter of like sort of organizing your priorities and trying to like keep the big picture in mind, and then going very deeply into the details as well, to sort of, you know, it's an art of controlling when it comes to linear media. The second we start talking about like VR and stuff, it gets more diffuse and wibbly and harder to talk about in different ways. But so long as we're talking about fiction and nonfiction podcasting, I think it's important to hone into what's similar. I've been thinking about this a lot lately because of the course we're making about audio dramas, and so much of it applies to nonfiction storytelling. And it's also like maybe going to be harder to think through for like straight up documentary. Like, at what point is nonfiction and documentary the same thing? Like, is there a different aesthetic? Is it a question of aesthetic? Is it a question of genre? Like, I don't know. I find these things can be incredibly complicated to talk about. And I think that, like, personally, I've ended up doing more documentary nonfiction work than fiction work, because I think fiction is much of a slower process, and I think I'm also just drawn to like learning more about the world at this moment, and so I think I might have more fiction in me to come later in my life as I, you know, learn storytelling and documentary for the time being. And then, you know, it's so awesome working on fiction stuff with Gabrielle and Sarah, because I can be available to sort of break the story in and then give notes as it goes, but they're like a great engine for like getting script pages written. And I can do that too once we have an outline, but I feel like I'm better spent like in the outlining stage as a writer, and then I love editing and can lose track of time. staring at a computer screen, just clicking all the buttons and making it perfect. So yeah. King Falls AM is just wow. The music in King Falls AM is just wow. The Penumbra podcast has been good. This is cool. Oh, kind of stressed being here, talking in English in the chat. That's oh. I was wondering when are we going to get more regular streams? Alexi W. I wanted to address that. I completely failed to deliver on my promise on January to stream every week, and I think at this moment, what I can promise here is to continue the monthly streams for sure, and then I think beyond the first Sunday of the month, I'm going to do experiments. I don't know when they're going to be. I'm not sure I'll even announce some of them beforehand. I'll do it as much as I can and as much as I feel like I can deliver on things reliably, but there are going to be a lot more Beyonce drops this year than I think will happen next year, because I'm looking ahead to 2020 and I'm thinking about, like, if I want to actually do a daily podcast, how do I do it in a way that won't kill me? Because I almost died doing Focused AF daily, and I'm not interested in doing the bi-weekly show that I was doing every other week. It's like a recipe for burnout more than it is, it's not sustainable the way I've designed it to date, and so I've put that on hiatus. So that's like, and I haven't actually announced that in the feed. I think anybody that's subscribed to it sort of knew it implicitly because I just haven't touched it. But it's not enough for it to be known implicitly, and I'm embarrassed about it all and feel guilty, but that doesn't make any difference. So I'm like, I don't want to, not like I want to negate how I feel about it, but it's just like, I'm interested in I'm interested in cleaning up the mess that I made of promising too much and under-delivering, because it's not how I operate when I'm working on my paying sort of freelance gigs. And I have a fantasy that one day I will do this full time, but I think in the meantime, I'm not doing an ad revenue based business seems scary for a number of reasons, and I don't think I'm enough of a video gamer to do a certain kind of live streaming that I think would make it easier to just drop out of everything else that I'm doing and only create online. And I'd rather work for clients I really like and not ask for money on these platforms at all. But yeah, I'm just taking a step back and doing my best to work smarter and not harder. So before I go ahead and promise doing more regular streams, I'm going to promise to keep up the once a week, first Sunday of the month, 4-ish p.m., give or take 30 minutes for tech fuckery. Excuse my French. And I'm going to consider maybe making those available on an RSS feed, which has been asked, but I don't want to promise that. I'm looking ahead to 2020 and seeing can I get Focused AF backup daily? Is there a weekly format for this show that's more like a podcast that has a video component that then I'm recording live on Sundays? Or maybe I'm not even recording live on Sundays. Maybe I'm recording at some point and then premiering it on Sundays, so it runs with a live chat, but it's not live, and that so there's lots of different things that I could do, but I want to get out of this cycle of promising this huge impossible thing and then inevitably not fulfilling on every last detail of it and feeling bad about it along the way, and you guys just not getting any updates and maybe wondering if I'm dead. And yeah, and I have an ambitious vision for some other podcast ideas and maybe some I want to work on things in a way that works, and I think I'm learning a new habit of patience, and I'm doing what I tell my clients to do, which is spend the time in development before rushing into production. And and it's funny how easy it is to give great advice to people you're helping and then like realize that it's like what you've needed all along. But yeah, now that I've talked about that for way longer than you probably needed to hear about it, I appreciate your question. And I really look forward to being around the internet more often, because I just think there's a lot of noise out here, and I have some ideas that I feel like are the kind of noise that I wish was here, the kind of ruckus that like might make a difference in a direction that a great difference has been made for me in the course of my life. And yeah, I love that, man. It's so refreshing to hear that, Angel, that it just it's just really awesome. And love Kirby forever, like that's an interesting thought. Like I've had an idea of like, and this is why I introduced the like recording feature at Focused AF, which you can still go to that website and you can still press a button and record audio there. So like pitch me if you have collab ideas. I get those voice memos. Anyway, before Alex goes off to bed, I'm gonna, or I guess it's almost 1, you should go to bed, but I'm gonna slow down from all the talking and do a meditation and sign off myself. This is fucking great. I'm just like reading this. The Bridge. Check out The Bridge. That podcast is awesome. Wonder Forge is awesome. Man, it sounds like people are here for the ramble. We'll keep the ramble alive. But I also, like, I think there's a conversation that I want to have with the patrons that support me that aren't connected to No Bad Ideas, because there's just part of me that feels incomplete with charging credit cards and not doing this show for January. But anyway, before this is over, my favorite reptile is... that's challenging, because when I think of reptiles, I think of dinosaurs, and when I think of dinosaurs, I think of birds, but birds aren't reptiles. I think that I want to say some, like, I feel like I should say some exotic lizard, like a bearded lizard or something, but actually it's like really, really big snakes. Like, I don't care what it is, but if it's a really big snake, like a boa constrictor. I'm afraid to get one because I heard a story of one that stopped eating and slept next to its human every night, and it was apparently starving itself, preparing for the kill, and like lengthening itself to like eat the person. Jeez. Alrighty. Where do we want to do this? Why don't we come over here? And don't get me wrong, I reserve the right to come back next week and do a stretching class for 15 minutes without any warning. I think I just want to be a sneak attack on the internet more than I want to be predictable drip, because that's not how I live my life in predictable drips. There's like an ebb and a flow to everything that just, is exciting and part of the process. And then there's something about planning the process such that there's organization present and you deliver on time, and that's important. And I want, I just feel honored to have the attention and the listening that you guys offer me. My dad used to lead seminars, and that's one of the biggest things that he talks about missing in working as a seminar leader is like there's just a different kind of a listening that just only exists in a certain context, and I just feel like a lucky human being to get to hang out with all of you guys here. So without further ado, let's get our meditation on. Suddenly stretching TM. Rena, you're just a gem. You're too good for this world. If it doesn't involve neon colors and leg warmers, I'll be disappointed. Duly noted. I was thinking about putting the green screen down and doing that dancing game on Xbox, and that would be how I do Twitch, is just like sweating to the Xbox, and you could follow along to my stupid dancing to a stupid dancing game. It would be fun. This is gonna keel over while we meditate. All right. Oh my God, don't validate these ideas. Oh shit, I'm gonna have to get that Xbox. So let's do this thing, everybody. So as we get into this meditation, let's remember that we're doing this for a reason. And I'd be curious for you to think about that reason for a second. Excuse me. Why do you want to meditate if you want to meditate? And if you decide that you don't want to meditate, you can say goodbye for now and we'll see you in the next stream. But if you have some intention to meditate, I will not get eaten by a big snake. And Tiffy has done her worst to try to consume me, and it hasn't worked yet. But yeah, you basically can just, even if your intention is to give up having any pressure on yourself for 10 minutes, it doesn't have to be much. Your intention can be, you don't actually even need whatever an intention is. I think the words are tricky. What I think makes a difference when we confront meditation is having some direction for our inquiry. People ask me what meditation is, and it's a word that is easy to think you know what it means because you've seen the pictures of people sitting with their fingers and the legs crossed and all these images of what meditation should look like. And now there are advertisements for, the right meditation app, and then there are headsets that read your brainwaves and tell you if you're doing it correctly or not. And there's all these authorities on meditation. And I have this, I'm borrowing a radical idea from my friend Krishnamurti and going on a limb to assert that there's no authority on meditation. The only thing there is for you and for any individual to find out for themselves. And there's a lot of great resources. I would just treat the resources as gifts and take what works for you and leave the rest behind, including me. And so just treat your body right in the next 10 minutes. Whatever we're going to do, you just want to be comfortable. So really don't worry about, I think calling it meditation is even a trap. Let's just do nothing together for 10 minutes. I want you to sit in a way that feels good, that doesn't put a lot of pressure on your back. You can even lie down. Just be comfortable. And let's just start by bringing our attention into the body. Just notice what it feels like to be you now, wherever you are. Feeling your weight against the surface that you're on. Feeling the sensation of your breath coming in and out of the body. Dropping in. To the room you're in. You can include the sounds around you. It's not a problem if the mind goes off. Just notice whenever it does and see if you can, in that same moment, notice any aspect of your physical sensations. Maybe the tension in your face. Tightness in your jaw. Maybe if your hands are a little sweaty, or maybe they're bone dry. And you can play around with your field of awareness and zoom in on one part, like your toe on one foot. See how sensitive your attention can become to the sensations occurring in that area. And then you can zoom out and see if you can feel your whole spine all at once. And see if you can let go with every exhale, the tension, and expand with every inhale, stretching. I can imagine a point at the center of my head, between my ears, right where my spine meets my skull, all the way down to the tail of my tailbone. Just feel that line. Not try to do anything to it. Straighten it up. Not try to change it or manipulate it. Just see how it feels. And if you notice you can't stop trying to change it while you notice it, notice that. Whatever you notice, just notice it now. Notice if you're beating yourself up because you're doing meditation wrong or you're not getting it. There's nothing not to get here, and nothing to get. It's true if you take some time to put down the screens and follow your breath and just breathe, that you'll have health benefits happen. But I find that making this another to-do causes more harm than good. and just doing it for benefit makes it a fair weather friend. And the idea here is where do you look when everything's changing? When things get a little tighter or scarier? How can you find space in those moments? I don't know. But it's in slowing down to inquire within that I find some of the magic that has lit the darker chapters of my experience. If you want to experiment, see if this is maybe giving yourself a treat, you can close your eyes, rest your hands on your thighs if you're sitting. If you're lying down, you can maybe lay them down on your stomach over one another, whatever feels good. And as you inhale, see how much of this moment you can include as you feel your body filling with air. See how far a sound you can hear. And as you exhale, surrender everything. Give it all away. Just let go. If you want an easy stress relief, squeeze every muscle you possibly can, and then let go. You tighten up like a lot, fists, everything, and then when I'm really, really tense, that's the way I'll start out, just sitting. And sometimes I'll just marvel at the sensation of gravity. You can just sit and feel that weight pulling you down. At some point, I'll do a stream with a Krishnamurti video where we can watch together what I spend hours of my time staring at. If you search for Jiddu Krishnamurti or J. Krishnamurti, there's a fair amount of videos online here where he talks extensively about meditation, and I've been learning a ton. And I don't think he even knows what it is fully, but he talks about it clearer than anybody else I've ever heard talk about meditation. And it's been a real inspiration for my personal inquiry. And I just want to be clear that I'm not an authority on any of this. I'm a novice practitioner that's probably more experienced in communications than I am in meditation. And I like to think that I'm a passionate learner and I'm hungry for feedback. So, let me know what worked in any of this, if any of it worked for you. And let me know what isn't working for anything that actively is not working, if there's anything that fits that category. If you don't want to leave comments here, you can DM me on Twitter always, and I have an email account at zach@uplift.is. We're going to close this relaxation time. I'm like wondering if meditation is just the wrong word for what this is, or what exactly I'm promoting here, if I'm promoting anything. I think for me, I've discovered meditation as a state that emerges naturally without any effort in the process of making peace with and discovering myself. And the more that I see clearly, I think it's clear to see that our world is intimately connected in a way that's going to become, I mean, anybody who reads Twitter just sees how crazy the world is. And I'm really grateful to have the kind of community that I have, and some of the resources. And many of those resources are mindfulness resources. And I love that this channel can serve you in that. And yeah, I guess I'm like, I notice there's part of me that wants to end this right, or do it properly. And I can hear sort of Krishnamurti's voice in my head that that's silly. And that the attainment of outcomes has nothing whatsoever to do with meditation. And that, stress reduction is great for productivity. And I love stress reduction, and I do it to take care of myself while I work. But I think we throw the word meditation around quite loosely, and it's deprived us of its fullness and richness. Yeah, I'm delighted to be talking with the Krishnamurti Foundation for America about potentially getting the rights to record some content that would be part of my my sort of independent publishing, probably into next year. I'm thinking about it specifically for a daily focused AF drip, and sharing some of the best meditations I've ever found, best inquiries, best provocations of thought. And just being able to hold some silent space for you in this noisy world is a privilege. So thank you for joining me for this week's Self-Care Sunday. I'm going to stick around for another, let's say, until 6 p.m. I now have a clock in front of me. I have no idea if that meditation was long enough, if it was 10 minutes. And, I think I'm just seeing how much of my conditioning is oriented around measuring up to an expectation or a standard. Um, and I think that it's been an inquiry into what is meditation that's led me to that level of insight that I can see the machinery of my conditioning at work, even a little. And I know that I am very much at the beginning of this roller coaster. So anyway, I just so appreciate the support here, and I think it's a really beautiful sign that the chat goes silent, and it's super disconcerting in a really positive way. um, and y'all's support here, and just, you know, it's just at risk of sounding weird from a certain perspective. Sleep well, tiny crystal tiny falcon. From a certain perspective, there's you separate from me watching, and we're all, you know, individuals, separate. I think that while there are individual aspects to our self-expression, the self is universal, and that all human beings are part of one human family. And I think that as the most powerful part of the delegation of life that we know of so far in the universe, we haven't been great house guests on planet Earth. And also I think we're pretty rude to ourselves, like personally, independently, individually. So it's a joy to be a resource in this community, and I also look forward to sort of developing, you know, whatever's next together. And I think that, yeah, there's no telling what we can create together. So if you guys have any questions for me about creativity or self-care, we got another 9 minutes. And I appreciate all the many thanks, and wish well all of those of you who are going to sleep now after that meditation. And let's see, the content you make on your own mental health journey is something I found incredibly helpful for the past however many months. I'm so thrilled to hear that. Armpit Charmpit, also great username. I think it's a joy for me to continue to make things that foster peace and calm. And I think that, you know, interestingly, after promising to do a month of weekly streams, like, it's funny that I promised that in an episode that I said go slow to go fast. And so I like completely didn't listen to my own advice. And so I think hearing myself more plainly is important. And like, I think rewatching this stream is going to be part of what I do in the next month before the next stream as I prepare. Yeah, go slow to go fast. That's a mantra I've been repeating to myself. And I think that it would have been inappropriate for me to fit in and cram in Self-Care Sunday while I was on the court of all those projects that I was doing in January, because it would have broken the, like, I was getting minimal self-care as it was. So that was just irresponsible, and you guys can count on me to be more responsible about my promises on this channel and on all of the medias. And I think effective immediately, Zach Valenti's web presence outside of freelance and brand partnership and, you know, like those things. And like, yeah, basically I'll be really explicitly clear what to expect from me when. Yeah, I feel like I learned a thing. Whew. Benjamin Theodore, you just returned the favor. Thank you. I actually remembered to relax my shoulders, which literally never happens. Laugh my LMAO, like laugh my ass off. And as I was reading that, I was like, oh, my shoulders are tight. Yeah, there's this beautiful passage that I'll end the stream on. So keep those questions coming. Keep those questions coming. I'm gonna find the book. I'll be right back. But I can keep talking. I love seeing the connections that are happening here. Did I bring that book downstairs? Oh, yes, here it is. Mwahaha. Here is the book. Let's see. I guess it is, what day is it? The 3rd. You calling me a goober? I feel like that fits rather accurately now that I hear it. I'm like, there was such a good one that I opened it up to last night, but now I'm just trying to get it right. But I'll just read the one for today. I'm trying to get the rights to this. Crap, maybe that means I shouldn't read it. Ugh. Man. I guess that's probably wise. See, we need a better system for copyrights. I'm just going to go on to kfa.org and just find something to read that's like good to end on. Man, y'all are so kind here. That is something that I do not want to take for granted. Man, there's so many things I want to talk about and bring up. There's an artist that I connected with on the subway at the MTA who contacted me now that he's in prison again, and has basically had a terrible, vicious circle of being incarcerated. And I don't think we have enough time to really get into our scary, racist prison industrial complex in America, but it's one of those things that's like, I think we can make a better world. And it's been beautiful to connect with this artist, Pyro. I'll link his, some of the work that I've seen of his, and I'm not sure the work that he's done so far is representative of what he is, out to create now. And somewhere I have a recording from one of our phone calls that I'll share eventually when I come back on Focused AF. But yeah, oh man, I'm at some point I want to make a video on guilt. So good. It's so good. Yeah, I've been at work in therapy on that. It's super healthy, and I'm just lucky to have a great therapist. Remember to fire therapists if they're not working for you, and find somebody who's a good fit. Therapy works, and there are lots of different techniques and lots of different practitioners. All right, here we go. How's this? Freedom and authority. Under no circumstances accept what the speaker says at any time. There is no authority. Neither you nor the speaker have authority. Both of us are investigating, observing, looking, learning. To be free of authority is to die to everything of yesterday, so that your mind is always fresh, always young, innocent, full of vigor and passion. It is only in that state that one observes and learns. Man, I get chills reading this guy, but anyway, that is the last quote that I have for you for today, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else. Thank you for joining me for Self-Care Sunday, and I look forward to next month. Now's the time where I press the button. Aw, so many sheep emojis. Follower. That's funny. Oh, and I love just how much support I get from you guys. It's really uncommon. Oh, this is different now because I went live this way, so I just stopped streaming.